Yeah, what you're saying reminds me of what Susie Hansen describes as the 3 waves of souls coming over a very long, like she and the two of you were both born in the 1950s. And she says now, I guess since around last maybe 4 decades, we have these younger starseeds coming in. She also talks about the concealed ones, like people who don't even know that they're part of this program, and at the right time when they're in positions of influence in society to make a difference, then they'll be kind of activated. Yeah, do either of you want to comment on that, like the 3 waves of souls? And Dolores Cannon, in her writing, she talks about that as well.
Yeah, that fits in with what I understand too. I remember reading it in Dolores Cannon's book, and I thought, oh yes, that's for sure. And there were people coming in like even before the 1950s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I guess I think Susie Hansen said one of her talks, she mentioned around 1850 to begin this period. Like her book's been big about some dual soul connection. She goes the last 11 pages of the book, she really goes into this whole process, how it's going to work out, how it's very, very thoroughly laid out process, like everything's been worked out. You know, it sounds very encouraging, like somebody's got this planned out for us, hopefully.
Yeah. Jacquelin, have you got a copy of your book here to hold up with? I've got one here if you haven't.
Oh yeah, could you hold it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you.
Hold it a bit closer to you, Judy, a bit closer to you.
Oh, bit closer to me.
That's my newest book, Star Being in the Mirror, and it's available either through my website or Amazon. Thanks, Jude, for having it.
Oh, it's a brilliant book. It's just
I
lovely.
should have remembered to show the books. Like I've got 2 of Judy's here.
Yeah.
Zeta message, an extraterrestrial presence on Earth.
Yeah, I've got my cosmic consciousness one here.
I guess Jude's got 5 books. And how many books do you have, Jacquelin?
3.
Yeah, you should always have them ready when you're on video. You should have them right there.
That's why I have this latest one of yours, because I thought you might not think to do that. Her animal communication ones are lovely too. I've got them, but I haven't got them here with me. They're in the bookshelf. What are they called? Star Origin, was it?
Wisdom and Star Origin of Animals, talks animal souls. It's a wonderful book, and the talk about where they all the different star systems that they come from and why they're here on Earth and how they live in other star systems, what they look like. So it's it was an amazing book to write.
It would have been.
Just I mean, I had all kinds of things happen. The room would just turn pure light when I would communicate with some of these highly evolved beings. So it was a real gift to be able to write that book so that people can understand that the animal, those who we call animals on Earth, are star beings from other star systems.
Yeah. My cat shifted into a little grey form one night. And assured me she was house trained.
Good. Or Ian, were you up next, Ian?
No, I just I had to step aside a bit.
Yeah, it's 2 in the morning in England right now. I got to feel sorry for Ian.
Yeah, and I was
Goodness.
doing something else, but I do want to say that I find that it's fascinating. I look forward to joining you all again soon.
That'd be lovely. Lovely to have you along.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you again, everybody, and look forward to joining with you again soon.
It's great you came in. You always add a lot to our visits, so come every time. We want you as a guest as well, a guest speaker.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Who else has their hand up?
Anik,
Anik, go ahead.
I'm there. Talking about time, isn't time evolving like our solar system in a spiral, basically?
Not really, because there really isn't any such thing as time. It's an illusion of 3D.
Okay, fine. I will accept that one. And then Are there spaceships flying around the Earth right now?
Yes,
Yes, all the time. No?
yes, yes, yep. Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
And which races are the most active then?
Ooh, I think the Greys are the most active. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm
And
talking about various Grey races, you know, all the like Zetas and the tall
yeah,
ones.
and so talking about emotions, you said all beings have emotions. So is fear the only 3D emotions or emotion, or are there other specific 3D emotions?
Emotion is experienced all over the universe, but at different depths. We actually, I don't know about you, Jacqueline, but when I'm in my grey form, I actually feel emotion more strongly, but more the higher emotions, not so much the lower emotions.
Yeah,
You
you
find
when you
that?
say
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
when you say higher emotions, you are talking about love, gratitude, etc. We agree on that?
Yeah,
Or?
yeah, unconditional love. We understand unconditional love a lot more strongly.
Yeah, then that pleases me. And then when you talk of light language, I'm a bit surprised when I saw light language. I didn't really understand because we just said that higher beings. I don't like the word higher, by the way, because we are all equals, no? But whatever. Higher beings communicate telepathically. So what is actually light language then? Because that's definitely language, no? I mean, it's not telepathic.
They're dimensional frequencies. You answer this, Jacqueline, because you do more than I don't do like language, but you do. But they're dimensional frequencies.
It is. It's just about frequency. And so and also the different star cultures, we could say, have their own way of communicating their frequencies or their language, because a lot of the beings they speak, you know, they can speak in sounds or clicking, like the mantis do a lot of clicking. So those sounds can manifest through the light language, and because our vocal cords are limited in what we can do, they've kind of told me, well, we do the best we can through you, because I speak a number of different star languages that come through to me. But to me, it's speaking light because of the high, what I want to say, the more evolved frequencies that they come from. It's just speaking light, it's speaking energy, but it comes through in different ways from each race, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, yes, my turn next. Ian was talking about visions many experiences have had of devastation on the Earth, like Jeff Selver here, and also Crystal had visions of waves. So Jeff was actually showing on craft waves coming from the Arctic right across Russia to the Himalayas. And, you know, we know cases going back, I guess, the 1970s of 80s, people seeing like fire, various forms of destruction. So I'm wondering, you know, how can we sort of dial down the fear about the future of humanity? Like, is it going to be a process where we'll have less population, but more advanced human beings, and that the other humans will just take reverse somewhere else? Like, is there any way people can discuss this without getting really scared or paranoid or angry at aliens? But what if there's a process? A lot of people have had this idea of depopulation is coming in the future, and it seems to be a New World Order agenda. Is this part of, like, what's the ET relationship with the New World Order agenda? So that whole thing, it's a big issue. It's an important issue, and I think people kind of dance around discussing it, you know. So I want to get both of your feedback on that.
Yeah, I think that's why people like us are here, to try to explain what's actually going on. I mean, the brainwashing that's gone on this planet for millennia is, you know, it's mind blowing. So I try to talk about this, so people can just get to know what's going on, basically. And I think the more people know what's going on, the more people will awaken to what's going on, and the reality will change because their consciousness will change. They'll stop being sucked in by politics and religion, etc.
No, I totally agree with you. It's all about the choices people are making and to stay out of fear. And again, to listen to the heart and the soul. And to be true to themselves and not get caught in all the lies and all the drama, which is easy to get caught in, but to really stay out of that and to really honor source within, to hold the source within, no matter what anybody might say.
Yeah, just always know God is within. God's not no man up on the cloud. God's within. So we have the power. You know, that's really, really, really important for people to understand. I remember once asking Maris, because all this information was coming out, and I said to him, you know, how do we tell what's right and what's wrong? And he said, okay, don't listen to or read the words. He said, tune into the energy behind the words. Is it coming from love or is it coming from fear? And that, you know, that's the bottom line. He said, if it's coming from fear, then dismiss it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I know Jeff Silver, like this is book, The Rising, the Alien Plan to Build an Enlightened Society on Earth. He described how the Greys really respect the soul, but they regard the body as a plant. And being a Buddhist, you know, we have rebirth, like death's no big deal. We've had countless previous lives. It's not a big deal. So he was on the craft once, and the great elder did say to him, well, we want more spiritual people like you, and kind of implying, well, there could be some depopulation here of others and we're moving towards a new human, but hey, it's no big deal. There's rebirth and everyone will go to a suitable place. So yeah, I guess I mentioned and how to discuss that idea with the public without getting into fear.
Yeah. Like, okay, yes, people are dying off because the planet's shifting from fourth world consciousness to fifth world consciousness. And a lot of people have made a pre-birth choice not to be here when that happens. They either want to be over the other side to help out with the process from what I call upstairs, or they don't feel they're ready, so they're just stepping out and then they'll reincarnate back again. It's really important for people to understand that death's not the great big huge tragedy that people make it out to be. It's just part of life. That's part of life. We all get to come back if we need to.
Yeah, Jackie, you want to comment on that as well?
I think Judy's covered it.
Because when I think of depopulation, like there could be a World War III. It seems nuclear clock is closer to midnight now since like the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it seems that the globalists they're trying to get World War III going, as some people suspect that. But my feeling is it wouldn't be a nuclear war, but there could be some other way. There could be these electromagnetic pulses. They say if we had Stephen Bassett on a couple months ago, and he said if there was one in the upper atmosphere of America, half the Americans would starve to death in a year, things like that. So I wonder if it's possible there could be something like a World War III, billions dying, and this is how it goes, and people get rebirth, and life will carry on after that, even if it happens. You want to comment on that?
Life goes on. That makes sense. Life goes on because people reincarnate back again if they need to. And as Maris and Oris always say, there are no accidents. We choose the time of our passing and the manner of our passing before we're even born. So if they've chosen to go that way, they will.
And I think too, what's important to remember is, we can conjecture about things on and on, but, people talk about ascension. And for me, ascension is an inner process. It's not an outer process of ascending somewhere.
Yeah.
It's about us, again, coming back to ourselves and actually living in the moment. And not trying to keep figuring it all out, because we never will figure it out. I mean,
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
just,
that's the Buddhist view. I agree with what Jacquelin said. we have to work on ourselves. And the Buddha said, you don't have to figure out the whole universe. He basically taught, the nature of suffering and the path to end of suffering. He wasn't trying to scientifically explain everything. It's just how to spiritually develop yourself. I agree.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always advise people to take up some sort of spiritual practice, whether yoga, Tai Chi, Reiki, whatever. Speaking light language, whatever you feel that, whatever resonates with you.
Yeah, I still have to do some Tai Chi. Last time I talked to her, I thought, yes, that's what I need to do. I need to do more body work.
Yes,
I just go for walks 3 times a day. Okay, so just for more questions, we have Anik. There's still 8 of us left on the Zoom. We started with 16. We also have Rolf here and Katja. Anyone else hasn't had a chance to talk? If you want to pipe up later, that's fine. But Anik, you're next. If your hand's still up.
Yeah, I was just thinking you talked about God, and that disturbs me actually, because I don't think that there is a God as such. I mean, we are God. I mean, in our oneness, we are God. I mean, it's not that there is a God that I should worship. Then I should start to worship myself, which doesn't make any kind of sense to me. So, am I right? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
sort of.
the oneness of all is God.
Universal consciousness, exactly. It's the one. It's everything, and everything has God essence within it. So it's not like there's a God out there that we have to worship. We all carry it inside us.
Yeah, that's the thing of religion. No, they all people are really stick to this anthropomorphic image of God. This is really disturbing. I had a guy the other day on Facebook. I stopped the conversation because it became a fight, and I didn't want to fight, But I just stopped because I backed off, because the guy was so attached to this anthropomorphic idea and then to the Bible, and I was like, okay, fine, I leave it, because it became a little bit too sensitive. And I couldn't. I'm not there to convince people. So and then for Brian now, depopulation shouldn't bother us as long as we keep our soul in integrity. I mean, I really don't care to die. I really don't. The only thing I could be scared of, in a way, but I suffered already so much in my life, physically, I mean, but that is actually what I think most of the people are scared of. It's to suffer when dying. It's not the death that is a problem, because, well, I think that basically everyone knows that it's a transition. I mean, we have few people nowadays, maybe in the past, but nowadays, I don't think that many people still think that there is nothing after. I mean, and when I say after, it's again because I think as a human, but basically there is no after, because it's the same line. I mean, I just continue. That's the only thing that for me would be linear, actually. It's life, because it just continues as a flow. I don't see everything is basically not linear. Like time is not and doesn't exist, first of all, but it wouldn't be linear anyhow. But life is, because my consciousness just continues. It flows. So dying is for me not a problem. The problem is that I have a body, and that body can suffer, and that it can be hurt. That is the problem. And I think that most of the people have that problem, and not death is not a problem in itself. Correct? Well, I think so. I mean, so depopulation is not really an issue, because if they want to exterminate us, fine. I know now, thanks to Judy and to Jacquelin, that our DNA is kept. So fine, human beings will continue. And about myself, I don't care, because my soul will anyhow continue as an Arcturian, a Zeta, or whatever, and I don't mind, and I don't care, and I'm happy to change, actually.
That sounds good to me.
No, and then I just wanted to add, to finish, that you two together, Judy and Jacquelin, with Sherry, that would be something. Brian, you should, as soon as Sherry is better, you should.
Yeah, I've asked Sherry if whenever she can come back on, we'd love to have her back. Yeah, I wish her well.
Yeah.
Hope she gets better.
Yeah, well,
This is Sherry Wild for the audience. She was on many months ago. We had her on with Judy.
But these three together, that should be a show, I tell you.
Yeah.
That would be lovely. I would love it. I would definitely 3 hours for sure. 3 hours, if not 4.
Yeah, actually, I was
Thank you.
inspired by Yannick Gray had a video called "The Ladies of the Greys." Had Judy on with Susie Hansen and Sherry Wild. So I was watching a lot of these Susie Hansen videos. That's how I first saw Judy and Sherry Wild. And Yannick Gray, he lives here in Canada. He's in Quebec. So I sent him a Facebook message. Hi, thanks for that. Because I thought that's the way to do it. Get all 3 of them on, you know.
Yeah. These 3,
Yeah.
I guarantee you, three. Then you have many more people. These 3 on. Thank you, ladies, and thank you, Brian. It was a nice show. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nice to see you, Judy, and nice to meet you, Jacqueline.
The comments on death remind me of a Woody Allen joke. He says, "I don't mind dying. I just don't want to be there when it happens."
Exactly.
Yeah. If either you want to comment on death, Jacqueline, I guess, yeah, we all understand the idea of rebirth. Like I've been a Buddhist teacher since 1998, and the 2 core concepts of Buddhism is karma and rebirth. It's only 2 things you actually have to have a conviction about to be a Buddhist, but you know, it's not part of Western Abrahamic religions, the idea of rebirth. It's something, you know, they just.
But Judy, you just said something that can you leave your body before? I have to use the word, no, before dying. I mean, is it possible to actually leave the body?
It's possible. Yeah, it's possible. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
because
I've worked with some people who are in comas, who
yeah.
they're out of their body. The body is still there, and they kind of hover in limbo. Some of them trying to decide whether they're going to come back or not. So there's a very, we could say, very thin thread where they're sort of connected, but not in the body. So it is possible to be.
Yeah, but that must be horrible, no? I mean, if you are in a coma, so you don't live. So and when they come back, they probably will have brain damage and things like that. So
They're living in a different dimension, and it will be up to their soul and everything when they come back, how they will be. So
yeah, well, that sounds tough, honestly, because I mean,
it's a
difficult choice to make, no? I mean, if you know that you're going to be a vegetable, it's difficult to choose between a body and another place, no? I would think
depends on the person and their level of consciousness and what they believe, and again, what their soul is doing. Their soul may be doing something important that the personality is not aware of. So that can be going on deeper levels as well. That can be true for people who have dementia and Alzheimer's, that even though their minds are not present, their soul is still doing some kind of work on levels, whether it be cleaning up some maybe karmic things that have happened or whatever. So I really see that in the end being up to the soul.
Yeah, that was the thing. We talk about the mind, and I'm thinking that we have always. I think many people confuse mind and soul, no? Because it's not my mind that actually decides about my, I would say, my soul evolution. Yeah, it's my soul, and so I also many times since I'm a child thought that all these people that are so-called crazy and in psychiatric hospitals and things like that, these people are basically, they have a role, they have a purpose, otherwise they wouldn't be here. So yeah, so I really think that indeed at the soul level they have a role to play that we don't understand with our minds, but basically that we can understand with our heart. Is that correct?
Yeah, and also a number of people who are in psychiatric wards and that turn out to be incredibly psychic. And they're labeled as schizophrenic because they hear voices. But in fact, a number of them can be hearing real voices, you know, from the spirit world.
Yes, but when we say, sorry to interrupt, but when you say hear voices, you're not talking about hearing voices with my ears, no? With the ears. You are talking about actually feeling voices. Is that correct?
Well, it can be hearing voices in the mind, but it could also be hearing voices telepathically. Some people might hear that through the ears. You know, everybody's different how they perceive. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
I have a question, Jacqueline. You're talking earlier about the Arcturians. I've met other people talk about them. Maybe, or do they look human? Are they tall? And is it a particular star system? Or where is it? Like north, south, northern hemisphere, southern? Can you point to where it is and a bit about them?
Well, the Arcturians basically come from the constellation of Arcturus. Judy and I were actually created there. We were created not far from the star of Arcturus. And so, but the Arcturians are not just from one place. They can be from different galaxies. So so it gets interesting because like obviously there's lots of hybrids, right? that can be a mix of Arcturians and Zeta and whatever, Venusian or Syrian. And so I'll share this with you. This is what I look like as Xantu Kai. And actually that part of me came through and drew this.
Is that Arcturian?
Yes, Arcturian, Zeta, yes. But there are different, you know, there are going to be different beings who look differently because of the hybridization programs.
But is the basic Arcturian stock human looking?
Human looking, not from my perspective. They're humanoid, you know, they would, I have a webcam, so I'm kind of going between the screen and the webcam. We could call them, I guess, humanoid looking, but I don't consider them, no, they're not human-like here.
So that'll look more like a gray, like what you're showing, more like a gray or combo.
I mentioned this is a mix of Arcturian Zeta or gray. I tend to say Zeta. So it's all kinds of forms. There are all kinds of forms that they can take throughout the universes. There isn't just one form that they come in because they are mixing with other races as well.
So I guess genetics is what they do, right? They do genetics, so they can mix and match very easily. The way we can breed dogs, that kind of thing.
Yeah, actually, that's a really good example, except they do a better job than we do with breeding dogs.
Yeah, my girlfriend's got a Frenchie, you know, they plug in the nose so it's cute, but then they have breathing problems. It's not fair to the dog, you know?
Yeah, so many of these dogs, and I've worked with a number of them, have problems because of the way breeders breed them, and they end up having all kinds of difficulties, which to me is very sad.
Yes. Okay, so Mark, you're next. Our inventor guy. Great you're here, Mark.
Thank you. I was wondering, have you guys, this would be an interesting experiment. Would the aliens allow you to bring along a ride, another person to kind of see the show? That would,
$50 each.
yeah, or bring back a picture. God, that would be great.
No, not really, because I mean,
No,
if a person is meant to be there, they'll be there.
they'll be
I
there.
mean, if your friend is meant to be there, then they can come along. But if they're not, they won't.
Right, right.
It's too hard bringing back things through dimensions. You can't do it. Can't do it.
Mm.
Yeah, because you've been on the ships, both of you, I guess, physically,
Mm.
many times. That would be something to witness and behold. That was it. That was my question.
So I didn't know there are also hybrid programs, but not only on Earth with other species. Because we always think that it's only with Earth, you know. We are so egocentric. So, but there are hybrid programs with others. I mean, amongst other cosmic families. I mean, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, blue avian with Arcturian is something possible. I mean,
Basically, anything's possible. Hi, Jacqueline.
Right, yeah.
It's
They-
okay, fine.
They can do whatever they want to.
That's very interesting to me. And then why? And my last question. Fine, I don't know if the last, because when you talk, other question come up. But why do some people see orbs or crafts, and others who actually would like to see can't?
Because it depends on how much conscious awareness you're able to access. I mean, they're all around us, and you can either access them or you can't.
Yeah, yeah, you can feel them, but you can't see them. That's horrible. I mean, it's
Yeah, that's
frustrating.
what I mean. You can either see them or you can't. It depends on how much of your consciousness is conscious awareness is open and able to perceive into other dimensions. Because that's what the expansion of conscious awareness is about, is being able to perceive into other dimensions.
Okay. So yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean,
So
there
you
can
can
be two people standing there, and I've talked to people who have experienced this. One person can see the ship and the other person can't. And that
Yeah.
just has to do with their openness and level of consciousness, and knowing that that's possible. Or if someone's in fear, it would block them from seeing it.
Yeah, but then how can a person be aware at one level and then not see them? That's my point. Yeah, because there are I mean, there is a certain awareness when we talk about unconditional love, about emotion, spirituality, etc. But then on the other hand, you can't see a spacecraft.
They know when you're
craft.
ready. They know when you're ready. More than they
Yeah,
know when
no,
a person. They know when a person is ready to have that experience.
Okay.
When
Okay.
you're not.
Okay. Thank you.
I want to ask, did you have any more stories of your past life together, like as sisters? My volunteer Barry made a great thumbnail for this of you of your past life as sisters. So
He did a great job.
yeah,
It's beautiful, beautiful.
yeah, we'll see about the thumbnails we make for this video. We could probably use that. But yeah, any more memories or stories of your past?
How about the expanding thing that I tried to
I
bring
knew
on
you were
board? I'm
knew you
too
were gonna
embarrassed.
say that.
I'm too embarrassed to talk about it, so you could talk about it.
So
And as Sam Tukai said to me, don't forget the smell.
So I used to be a commander of a ship, and at that point Jude was on another ship and second in command. But Jude and I were really close, so we would spend a lot of time together. So she would come on my ship, and because we were very interested, she was very interested, and I was too, in getting some plants and different minerals and things like that to bring on the ship, so that we could learn more and experience that. So we went to into another galaxy, I believe it was. So Jude decides to sneak on board this being without my knowing it. And so this being was got very scared. So this being started to expand in size, and that was right. It put off this really awful smell throughout the whole ship. And I turned around and looked at Jude and and said, "What did you do?" Because she had a habit of doing this. And so we had a little chat and said, you can't be doing this because it upsets the balance on the ship. And so we had to eventually teleport this being back to where Jude had taken it from. And then we had to cleanse the whole ship energetically and in every other way. But Jude's notorious for wanting to always bring more of these plants and that on the ship than is doable.
But it was really cute. Started off.
That's exactly right. Exactly right. So, but we've always been very close, and also Jude always helped me to lighten up. Being Arcturian, I was a little more serious and really focused on creating star maps and things like that. And so she would lighten me up and make me laugh. And then sometimes I would help her get more focused because she would lose her focus and get off on wanting to bring all these samples back on the ship. And then there were so many that it just became pretty impossible. So that's one of our fun stories that we like to tell and that we both have recalled.
Were you males or females in that lifetime?
So as it goes, we were both androgynous and being created, but the star beings can lean what we would refer to more toward male or female. So I lean more toward male, and Jude leaned more toward female. So we really thought of each other as sister and brother in those ways. And we used to get together. Our community, our families would get together and by the beautiful ocean in the After System, which I still think of, and had all these palm tree, all these beautiful trees and that. And Jude would, we would laugh at each other because I would start talking shop. I would start talking star maps and charts and grids and, all of this. And Jude's like, you know what? Why don't we just have fun here and laugh?
You're not at work now, then, Jacquelin. You're not at work.
So, we're not so different from humans. I mean, the star beings are not so different from humans. In our families, we loved our children. Jude and I would get together often and visit each other. And and telepathically communicate. We were on different ships at times, so we would telepathically communicate and enjoy that as well. But I like the retractable thumb thing. That was great fun. That was
Yeah.
great fun. Retracting my thumb to annoy you.
Yeah, yeah. I remember.
I
We've
want to
got
ask
long
about the,
memories.
when you talk about the androgynous, it reminds me months ago when I was talking with Jude about, there's seems to be this globalist agenda more on just not being just male or female. Now there's LGBTQ. And so I was thinking, is this a long-term ET agenda to get people more acclimatized idea of androgynous or no sexuality? And so Jude was saying, well, yeah, I guess you can speak for yourself that perhaps this is part of, because it seems to be a top-down agenda to introduce these ideas. So maybe there's a reason for that. Do either of you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's an ET agenda. It's a human agenda. People are doing it themselves. I mean, we create our own reality. So people are moving more towards that lack of polarity.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think we need to be looking beyond gender and looking into people's hearts.
Yeah.
And souls. That is the most important thing, and not be judging any of that. The soul's doing what it needs to do for that person on their journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking with a channeler recently. She channels this entity, Beetlejuice, and I was saying, what's the ET agenda for humanity? And she was saying, well, actually, humans are part of it too. It's the humans who want to make the changes too. It's not just an ET agenda. It's humans and ETs working together. So I guess what you're saying makes sense. It's kind of, but like the idea is kind of a new idea in recent decade or two. The idea of transgender, transsexual, LGBTQ. There seems to be some direction in this way. So I wonder if this is the idea behind it, getting us gradually used to the idea. Like the ETs, a lot of them don't have any genitals or sexual identity, right?
Yeah, it's more an energy thing with them. I think down here that it's more that it's just coming out the open. I mean, I think these people have made these choices all along, but once upon a time, I mean, for goodness sake, in some countries, people are arrested and put to death for being homosexual, which is just ridiculous. I mean, you are what you are. But hopefully it seems to be becoming more sort of able to be spoken about now and more open. So there's not the what's the word I'm after? They're not put down so much.
Yeah, do you want to comment on that, Jacquelin?
Yeah, to me, it's all about love. It's not about who's doing what with who, and again, not about the gender, but if there's love there, I think that's the point. And trying to help humanity come out of their judgments of what do I want to say, of not having such harsh and clear-cut beliefs.
Yeah, rigidity.
Things, exactly. And to help them expand beyond that and just to let others be, to just let others be and to, again, focus on, on the love.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to comment like what Judy was saying. It's a good case, like 100 years ago, say in Germany in the 1920s, let's say the movie Cabaret was about that. Did that kind of more looseness of sexual identity for a while. But what we're seeing today, like say in the United States, there's laws projecting, say in high schools, there's cases where, a teenage boy would say he's a girl, goes into the girl's washroom, parents get very upset, and the law comes against the father on the side of the boy who dressed the girl, and it creates tension. So it seems there is a legal top-down agenda to introduce this to society. That's what I think is it. like what's the relationship with ETs and our, our globalist system? There seems to be something going on there.
Yeah, the ETs just try and stand back from the politics of the planet. We're not allowed to interfere.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the bottom line,
Well, I guess
People
it's,
are
maybe
making
it's
out with-
reptarians. The reptarians
Yeah.
you're saying.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they've got their fingers in all the pots,
Yeah.
definitely. And we get blamed for it. It's not the genuine ETs doing it. It's the ones down here.
Yeah, I think that's the big picture our society needs to have more of a conversation about. Like people say, good ET, bad ET, but it's not that simple in black and white. There's reptarian, and then there's these higher dimensional beings, and it's hard to figure out like how does the chips fall? Where do the cards fall? If you want to comment on that, like it's very mysterious, especially for those of us in the third dimension. We're trying to understand these higher dimensions. How do they relate to us? That's why it's
Yeah.
great to have guests like you, like real experiencers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I mentioned before about my friend who used to work at NASA and worked very closely with Dr. Werner von Braun, and he made a prediction about it. He said, first communism was going to be the big bogeyman, then terrorism, and the third thing that was being created right from back then was an alien invasion of the planet. And it's just all absolutely, totally created down here. Nobody's invading Earth.
Yeah, I agree. They're not going to invade.
No. And it's really interesting because in Colonel Philip Corso's book, The Day Before Roswell.
The day after Roswell. Yeah, I read it cover to cover.
The day after Roswell.
Yeah, 1997 book. Very powerful book. Eh?
Yeah. And this alien invasion thing has been brought up in this book. But I know that Colonel Philip Corso didn't say that. There was no way he said it. And in fact, he was being interviewed once. I can't remember who was interviewing him. But this interviewer said, but you talk about it in your book. And he said, I never said that. He said it was put into the book by somebody else.
Publishers get involved.
Yeah, or the co-author or somebody.
Yeah, I think it was Bill Burns, of that UFO TV show.
Yeah,
he was co-author.
Yeah, that's right. And I have, on several occasions, seen other people quoting Philip Corso as saying this about, there's going to be an alien invasion. But he has stated categorically that no, he never claimed that. And he had a lot of contact with ETs, and he said he never came across any who were negative or wanted to invade. So he's just misquoted all the time on that.
Well, thanks. I didn't know that. Thanks for that. Yeah. Yeah, Jacqueline, you want to comment at all?
No, Jude's covered it, so.
I find as the years go by, I'm more sympathetic to our governments not giving us full disclosure, because most people in the UFO community are pushing for it. But I think in the 1940s or 50s, they're concerned about hysteria, and they're still concerned about it. So the whole policy of gradual disclosure, I know Susie Hansen talked about that too. Is it the Greys that are saying, look, we have to have gradual disclosure, or is it the governments? So how do you feel about gradual disclosure? I'll ask you both.
That's basically what we're doing, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just letting people see ships in the sky and approaching people on an individual basis too. That's the other way. There are more and more people opening up to the reality of it. And then there was the survey done by the Foundation for Research into Extraterrestrial Contact, what it's called, FREE.
Oh, yeah, now it's called the Conscious and Contact Research Institute, CCR. Actually, I should do a plug. We have Reinerio Hernandez coming this April 16th. He's the director of CCRI. He's coming back on. So join us.
Yeah. And that survey was a massive survey, and it shows, the majority of ET contact is positive, and people become more ecologically minded, more spiritual, less religious. There's a whole list of things they came up with.
Yeah, they change their eating habits. They think differently about the environment. Just really tons of positive changes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're all part of gradual disclosure. I think that's a big purpose of our meetup group. In a sense, since we're little people, we have a free hand to say just about whatever we want. But what I'm getting at with full disclosure, gradual disclosure from the perspective of the governments like United States, Russia, China, it seems it'd be wrong for them to just spill the beans and give it the bodies, the crashes, everything, interdimensional nature of reality, because it could cause hysteria. So are they wise in holding back? Have they been doing the right thing since the 1940s of not giving it full disclosure, not giving us the whole truth? Is that the wise thing for the world, do you think?
Well, I think yes and no. In some ways it is, in some ways it isn't, because the problem is when they do start disclosing things, they're going to put disinformation out. That's what the big worry for us is. Again, Jacqueline, what do you reckon?
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I think, you know, I agree, yes and no. And I think acclimating humans to the whole star being experience and that whole realm, I think it could be done more quickly. But then, you know, humanity, you know, I guess it's going at a pace that humans can accept. But I talk to many people who are really wanting more and ready, and they're not in hysteria. They want to know. And I talk to people constantly who are interested in the star beings and want to make contact with them in some kind of way.
I think in the case of, you know, President Jimmy Carter, 5 months after he became president, it was June of 1977, someone who claims that they were there said that, you know, they told him basically whatever religious beliefs you have, you can just toss that out the window. If the true interdimensional nature of reality, like it's reality itself, that full disclosure, I mean, you're telling 8 billion people, this is the nature of reality. It's not just UFOs and ETs, and it's interdimensional. I'm saying, you know, the Hindus and the Buddhists, they're more correct actually with rebirth. But sorry, the Christians, Jews, and Muslims, you're wrong, actually. Your religious views are wrong. So that's disturbing and could cause hysteria. So maybe that's part of the reason why they're not coming out at a high level, governmental level with full disclosure. Maybe that's actually the right thing to do. I guess I've changed my mind in 3 years, because I used to be full disclosure, but now I'm more conservative. Now I think we got to go gradual. So like people like us, like we're not the president of the United States, right? We can say whatever we want. Who's listening to us? We get, you know, maybe 1,500 hits a day on our channels. So I think we're doing the right thing. I just want to get your opinion on that.
Yeah, we can only do what we can do.
Rolf is coming on. We've been at it for 3 hours. Rolf's here in Vancouver. Hi, Rolf.
Well, I didn't want to talk about this, but about free will. How do you experience free will?
Okay, free will applies down here because we have to make the choice. Making the choice between unconditional love and fear has to be a free will choice. So this is why free will's down here. But when you move to higher frequencies of the human ladder, free will becomes God's will, or the will of oneness, the will of the soul. So free will is a low level sort of thing, and God's will is a higher frequency thing. Does that make sense?
Well, it could, but I don't know.
Because when we speak about free will down here, it's like you've got an angel on one shoulder and a devil on the other. You know, will I steal that candy bar from the shop or won't I? I've got the free will, you know. But when you're working through God's will, it wouldn't even come into your consciousness to steal something, because you know, everything that's done is for the good of the whole community. Whereas down here, we can be much more egocentric. So I'll do it because I want to do it, but I don't care how much it hurts other people. Whereas in higher levels, that just doesn't apply, because everything we do is for the good of everyone.
Okay, that's a very simple explanation. But I understand free will where I can do whatever I like. But I cannot, right? I play the violin, but I'm not a pianist. or something else, you know?
Yeah, but what we're talking about here, we're talking about two different levels of free will. Yes, we have to obey the law. So no, we can't do everything we want, although some people do. But there's the free will that's within your own heart is more the one that's applied for the choice between love and fear. Because you might be living in a very repressive society where no, you don't have free will, but you can still choose whether you're going to tune into positivity or negativity or love or fear.
Yes.
So
Well,
there's two levels of free will down here.
that's the first time I heard about two levels of free will. Very interesting. But something more simple, right down to earth. Who makes the crop circles and why?
They're energy stamps that are created upstairs. I think that there are some fake ones done, but the genuine ones
Never
are from
mind
down
fake ones.
here.
There are fake UFO pictures, right?
Hey,
So
sorry?
we don't need to talk about that.
No,
Yeah.
the real ones. they actually, they're for communication, and therefore, how can I say? They're like a little bit like Reiki symbols in that a lot of them actually, or all of them, carry an energy that is helping to bring planet Earth from fourth to fifth world consciousness, so that they bring their own energy down here, but they're also for communication. They're also for education, to show pictures of different planets and galaxies and things. Can you add to that, Jacquelin?
Well, I totally agree with what you're saying, and each crop circle that is real presents different geometry that has its own frequency that they know is needed at that particular place on Earth.
Yeah.
You know, wherever they might choose to put it, there's a reason why they put it there, and it activates the Earth, but it also activates that whole area multidimensionally, because the crop circles are multidimensional, and so it helps to activate and shift the frequencies on various levels that most people aren't even aware of. With the Earth and beyond.
Yeah.
Well,
This is the reason why when some people go into a crop circle, they get a headache, or they get a bit of nausea, or they get really, hyped up and excited and sort of, almost out of themselves. They are very much the closest parallel I can say is Reiki symbols. When a person's attuned to Reiki, they go through what we call the 21-day cleanse, which is a detoxing process. And in some cases, it can bring symptoms of like a cold or flu or a little bit of nausea or tiredness, and what it's doing is detoxing the whole system to raise the system to a higher vibrational frequency, and that's what the crop circles are doing.
but
Right.
who is making them?
Upstairs, Zetas and the Greys and the Mantas.
Well, I know that too.
they're all putting their energy into it.
I know that too, that they made one for me, right?
And
Yeah,
they've created out of like an energy stamp. And this was why people see like orb things sort of floating around in fields when they're being created. That's what they call it upstairs. They call it an energy stamp.
Yeah, Rolf requested one once, and a crop circle was made for him in England.
Yes.
Woo!
Wonderful.
Yeah.
I didn't really request it. I just was at Stonehenge with my sister, and I mentioned to her that would be a good spot for a crop circle.
Hmm.
And unusually, the same afternoon, the crop circle happened.
Yep.
They heard you.
Yes. I tell an exact same story in our book, The Zeta Message. We put out a request for an illustration of the human ladder, and that was what was brought down as a crop circle. And another Australian gentleman who was over there at the same time, who I didn't know at the time, a fellow by the name of Brett Parrott, was also a crop circle researcher. And at the same time, he put out a request for the crop circle. So it was like the 3 Australians, 2 here and 1 over there, put this request out, and that crop circle was created.
But still, who is listening?
Our ET family.
Which family?
Our ET family, our
Oh,
off-planet
ET
family, our
family.
galactic family. Yeah.
Yes, yes. Like,
You know-
well, I had some aliens in my, as Ryan was mentioning, 3 aliens in my bedroom. And some people are trying to explain how they can get out of my window without breaking it. I don't know whether I want to believe it, whether they know how, but I can accept it. But what I don't understand is, how do they propel themselves? I mean, unfortunately, once I saw them leaving, I didn't run to the window to see where in the heck they were going. I didn't see a ship, I didn't hear anything. They were just floating out on a horizontal, kind of upright angle, floating through the window, closed window.
They don't need a ship. They just transport themselves through their own consciousness. You place your consciousness where you want to be and you're there. And the moving through the window is like pouring water through a sieve.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. So Mark is having a problem with his gravity. He likes to, I think, build or make a gravity ship or something like that. But they don't, just because we are able to observe that UFOs can defy gravity, that doesn't mean that we can build a machine that can do that, right?
But you need to have the consciousness technology. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. And then I think Mark also mentioned the barrel UFO, and assumed that maybe that this is a more primitive way of engineering. I've recently taken a picture, and I just saw a dark spot, and when I enlarged it on the screen, there were actually 2 barrels tied together, kind of, it looked like. So what is it when we perceive these things as physical objects?
Well, it depends on the vibrational frequency they're operating. If they bring themselves down to 3D, then we can see them as physical objects. But then they can raise their frequency, so they just disappear in the blink of an eye. It's all about energy frequencies. The whole thing, every question you ask is based on energy frequencies. So we seem to be repeating ourselves over and over, but that's the bottom line.
Oh, now Brian brings up my UFO picture.
Yeah, Rolf, you took this, what, approximately year 2000. This is a famous mountain here in Vancouver, the North Shore Grouse Mountain. And look at this UFO. It's one of the best photos, I think, taken in Canadian history. And Rolf's a photographer, and look at this photo.
December 2006.
It's a great
Was this
photo.
December 2006, Rolf?
Yes.
Oh, you went and checked the camera or the stamp?
Yeah, I checked the original.
Do you know the date in December 2006?
I don't know. I had it written down.
Well, you can let me know later. Yeah, because we should tell UFO BC about this. Rolf's got a couple of other photos I've saved. So Rolf's got a lot and he saw in 1956 in Switzerland, him and a bunch of people saw a bunch of UFOs going by. It was in the newspaper. So Rolf's had an entire lifetime of these experiences. We go back 12 years, Rolf and I as well.
Yeah. Maybe just a note about disclosure. I had a very strange experience recently with a friend of mine. Well, I have most of my friends are already dead, actually, but I still have some that are still alive. And there is one, I just cannot convince him that UFOs exist. And I don't know what triggered him off. He got so vehement, and I don't know, he just, yeah, almost ruined the friendship just because he didn't want to believe in UFOs. And I said, well, listen, they talked about it in the States, in the government level. So UFOs must exist. Oh, no, you cannot convince them. And another friend likewise. It's so if the I'm wondering actually if the government, even if they wanted to, could disclose. Well, what would they actually disclose? Right? I think they don't know themselves. I mean, how are they going to explain to us how a UFO can come out of water without dripping water after they leave the level of the water, go up in the sky, and then maneuver around, fly around, go back into the water without making a splash? I don't think they can explain that, and that's why they cannot reveal it. Because, what do you think?
Yeah, they don't want to, they probably don't want to let people know that they don't understand it.
Yeah,
Because they're coming from ego. So
yeah. Yeah, the world is this. I actually don't like, you know what I don't like? When people say time doesn't exist and nothing is physical. This table is not physical, it's made of tiny little bitty atoms. But we are living here. We are dealing with the physical world. Time does exist for us while we are here.
yeah, depend on what reality you're working on. Yes, the 3D reality, yeah, time does fly.
Right. But yes, on a higher level, you know, if the sun wasn't shining, we would bump into people on the street all the time because we can't see them. Right? But another thing I found out, if you have a very long telephoto lens and you take a picture of somebody way off, and of course we know the light has a certain amount of speed, yes? So it will take some distance, some time, however small that time is, to come from the subject for the sun reflection, now to come to my camera and expose the film. But that person may, by the time that happens, that person may no longer be there.
Well, Rolf, it's 186,000 miles per second. So
Yeah, well, we are living in a very strange world. And freedom is what puzzles me, because, and it puzzled other philosophers like Shakespeare or Goethe or others, right? That puzzled about freedom. And we are not really free, because we are already born with handprints and fingerprints, which determine our future, that some people are able to read. So
do you have a question for our guest, Rolf? Got a question?
yes. Who determines our destiny?
We do, on the soul level. Bottom line.
In the soul level, before we come here, yes?
Yeah, yeah. Before and after. Yeah. Soul
Okay.
level.
Okay.
Jackie, you want to answer that as well? Jacquelin?
No, I mean, I soul level is the bottom line that our soul chooses, you know. our experiences and what we're learning and coming into to experience, to grow and expand in consciousness.
Actually, I'll just throw in the Buddha. The Buddha said we each create our own world with our karma. We, in a sense, create our own universe. We create our own world, the Buddha said,
Yeah.
individually.
Yep. Now,
Wow.
I don't know about you others, but I'm just about going to have to leave you.
Yeah,
Because I'm in-
Yeah, I was
I'm in a
going to
human-
ask three
I'm
and
in
a
a
half
human-
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in a human body and it wants something to eat.
yeah, I need to go to sleep person.
Okay, yeah, I know in
It's not
Ohio,
very
it's,
fun.
gee, the time now in Ohio is 11:30 at night. We should
Yeah,
just
I
say
hope
thank you.
so.
I'd like to thank you both, Judy and
Thank you so
Jacquelin. It's been
much,
great,
yeah.
3.5 hours.
Thanks
We'll
for
do this
having
again.
us.
It's
Thank
been a
you,
great
Todd.
success. Great
Thank
It
success.
has been.
Thank
It's been
Thank you.
lovely.
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Good luck.
Bye.
Bye.